Welcome to my first reading vlog. Yellowface by Kuang. If you're new here, hi, I'm Charity. I'm new to the booktube community and I am just having a blast over here. I started out on TikTok and I make videos for newer readers or readers who want to fall back in love with reading and are looking for some new book recs, and I would love to have you join our little corner of the internet, so go ahead and subscribe. I post here every single Tuesday. I just woke up from a nap, so I am just feeling great. Also, my hair looks insane. I had to fix my hair. My hair looked rough. I want to start Yellowface by Kuang. I have like 11 books on my TBR. If you want to see that, I have it linked above. I haven't ever annotated an Kuang book. This will be my third book. I'm saving the Poppy War for last. Wait, has she released 6 books then? I've been saying 5 books. Oh my goodness. Poppy War, Babel, Yellowface, Catabasis. 6 books. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm gonna make a hot tea because it's way too late to have a coffee, and then I'm gonna read Yellowface. So this will be our first book of October. This is my puppy Bailey. She's very sweet. She likes to cuddle with me while I read. Do you want to say something? Okay. We are all settled in. I am going to annotate. I grabbed this stack because it has yellow in it, and then I want to go with just more like neutrals and browns to complement the yellow. And then I have my Micron 03, obviously. As a resident stationery girly, I do love my Pigma Micron. I like to keep track of the first line of every book that I read in my reading journal. Let's see what the first line is. Chapter 1. The night I watched Athena Liu die, we're celebrating her TV deal with Netflix. This is definitely something intriguing. Like, I want to read the rest of this book. I want to know, how does she die? Why does she die? This is in first person, so who is watching Athena die? I need to know all the details. So we are going to get into reading. I'm going to start writing some of my thoughts down and cue a montage. How fun. See my little tabbies. I'm about a third of the way through. I've definitely marked up a lot. I will say the writing, I enjoy R.F. Kuang's work, so obviously I have a bias here. I love the way she writes. I think that she mixes straightforward prose with fast-paced writing in this book especially. It's very fast-paced. I'm actually having to force myself to slow down to mark up and critically read this. So far, we've really only gotten to the setup. This book is just incredibly infuriating. I am so frustrated by our main character, June. Just some preface, this is like first page stuff. June is a failed writer who is friends with an extremely successful Asian American author, Athena. She's incredibly jealous of Athena's success. It is very obvious that June is not only racist, but deals with huge amounts of mental health issues. She's obsessive, she's jealous, she justifies everything she does through a warped sense of reality, and she's extremely pretentious. Like, if there's one thing that R.F. Kuang can do, it is write a character that you will absolutely hate and yet understand. You understand how June has justified things within herself because we are in her brain. While you hate everything she's doing, see through her warped sense of reality how she's justifying the things that she's doing. June is just very annoying. Some of the annotation that I have tabs for, oh, June is being obsessive again, June is being racist again, June is being annoying again. Like, those are the thoughts that I'm having. Honestly, at this point, I might say something accidentally. So if you haven't read Yellowface, I'll put a timestamp for where you can continue with the reading vlog without spoilers. But I'm going to be reading from the text, so if you don't want spoilers or don't want to hear anything about the book, then go ahead and skip ahead. If you don't mind that, then stick around and you can hear my thoughts. This entire book so far can just prove that comparison is the thief of joy. If you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you yourself will never strive for greatness, because in your mind, you'll never be as great as that other person. One of the passages that I did underline, it explains who June is as a person and also her inner narrative. She's talking about jealousy and how she should be happy that her friend Athena just got a Netflix deal. People always describe jealousy as this sharp, green, venomous thing, unfounded, vinegary, mean-spirited. But I found that jealousy to writers feels more like fear. Jealousy is the spike in my heart rate when I glimpse news of Athena's success on Twitter. Another book contract, award nominations, special editions, foreign rights deals. Jealousy is constantly comparing myself to her and coming up short. It's panicking that I'm not writing well enough or fast enough, that I am not and never will be enough. Jealousy means that just learning that Athena's signing a 6-figure option deal with Netflix means that I'll be derailed for days, unable to focus on my own work, mired by shame and self-disgust every time I see one of her books in a bookstore display. Obviously, she's obsessing over Athena's success in this passage, but I think it also speaks to the fact that we can be this way in anything we do. Jealousy isn't just thinking, oh, I wish I had that, or being mean to a person. It's using that person's success as an excuse not to do better. I've rambled enough about this, so I'm gonna go to bed because I'm exhausted, and I hopefully will pick this back up tomorrow and fill you guys in on my thought. I'll see you next time we pick the book up. It's the next day. I ended up reading about 100 pages last night, but honestly, by the time that I was finished reading, I had a headache. I didn't want to talk to the camera. It had been a long day, so I just went to bed at about 8:30. But I did get farther into this, and there's just so much happening. So much happening. Okay, no spoilers first. If you want to read about a character that is so incredibly delusional that she continues to make bad decisions and justifies them in her own mind, read this book. And just honestly, my thought process through reading this book has been, oh, we're doing that again? Oh, we are in fact mentally ill. I'm questioning where she's coming to the conclusions that she's coming to. And we finally got to the point where she does acknowledge the fact that she did in fact steal something. And we learned the reason why is because it was also done to her. So she feels like she's owed this win, basically. And there's just a very twisted, convoluted system of justification in June's mind. It continues to get worse. So I'm curious to see, I feel like the story's starting to wind down a little bit. And I really feel like she hasn't learned her lesson, number one. Number two, I don't know if she's going to. Because I need June to understand and learn her lessons and just go back to therapy. Because I think that's what she needs. If we're being honest, I think she needs to go back to therapy. I will say, if I wasn't annotating this book, I would have read it in one sitting. It is just fast-paced enough and it's hooking enough that you could read this in one sitting. This book would be a great one to get out of a reading slump. This might be a book I turn back to when I do need to get out of a reading slump. I'm at a coffee shop. I'm gonna go grab a coffee, sit down in a cozy corner, and finish this book. I have like 2 chapters left of this book, so I'm definitely about to finish it. This has taken a turn. Some spoilers for what's happening because I just need to talk about it. Someone is pretending to be Athena, the dead author, June's dead friend, whom she stole the manuscript from. It is sending June into just this absolute spiral of thinking she's seeing a ghost. It's the personification of guilt eating someone alive. Like, she's obviously stolen this work. She knows what she did is wrong, but she did it anyway. And she is just losing her mind. One passage that I read where she's describing, she where she thought she saw Athena in person. The ghost devours me whole. The ghost rips me apart limb from limb and bathes in my blood. The ghost sinks into my body and takes over my life for my remaining years at reparations. The ghost impels me to suicide. I join her in the underworld, two miserable souls without justice, but none of these produce the necessary catharsis. Athena is not satisfied. She's just losing her mind. To the point that she accosts someone who she thinks looks like Athena. We're gonna finish this and see what happens. I have an idea of who it is. I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, it's a very suspenseful. Like, I want to know what happens. First off, the absolute audacity of other people being in public. I just can't handle it. But I decided to practice filming in public by coming to a public park and talking about my thoughts of this book, because I did finally finish Yellowface, and I have a lot of thoughts. I did write my thoughts down, so if you see me looking down, it's because I did make notes. Because if there's one thing about me, I will ramble. So I wanted to at least have an anchored place for my thoughts, and also someone has the audacity to do their job and mow the grass. So if you hear that in the background, I apologize profusely. Here is my finished and completed annotation. This was an experience. It was gripping. I was anxious to see what happened. I was hooked. The thing that was the most suspenseful about this is that we knew where it was gonna end up. We knew from the get-go where June was gonna go, but it was the how that we didn't know, and that's what made it so addicting, because June kept making decisions that were leading down one path. It was like reading a scandal that's happening live, but we were getting the inner thoughts of the person who the scandal was about. This book explores themes of racial discrimination, specifically in the publishing world. It explores the impact of cancel culture and how social media can impact mental health. Asks the question, who do stories truly belong to? Both literally and figuratively. Literally because we see our main character plagiarize someone else's work, and then we also see Athena, who is the dead author whose work is being plagiarized, make decisions that end in her basically stealing someone's life story and profiting off of it. So we are asked the question, who do stories truly belong to, from two different perspectives, and that's really interesting. I will also say that there are some triggering topics in this. There's talk of eating disorders, sexual assault, racial discrimination, obviously, there's gaslighting, a lot of topics that could possibly be triggering. So if any of those things might be triggering to you, I would do a little bit more research before just picking up and reading this book blindly. Unfortunately, there's not really any trigger warnings in the front of the book. June is an interesting protagonist because you're automatically set up to dislike her. She is inherently unlikable, and she is the anti-hero. She's not the hero of her book, and really, there's no hero in this book because everyone's a bad person. But that's kind of the point. By putting us into June's perspective, because this book is written in first person rather than third person, we're immediately confronted by our own thoughts on the topics discussed, which I enjoyed. I like being asked questions and challenged as a reader. I hope we all are. Another piece that continued throughout this entire work is the impact of social media, cancel culture, and social media as a whole on, number one, creators, and number two, the people who are being canceled. We see firsthand how dangerous cancel culture can be, and while I think that it's very important to hold people accountable for the things they're doing, Kuang, I think, has a unique perspective because she herself has been on the receiving end of vitriol and hate online. Hearing her talk about this through the lens of someone who is inherently not a good person is fascinating, and it does speak to the danger that putting yourself or other people up on a pedestal on something that is inherently a highlight reel is a good reminder that social media is fake. You never know what's going on in someone's inner dialogue, and so people could be posting one thing and completely acting another way in private or in their own mind. I'm gonna end up giving this 4 stars. I found this book suspenseful, I found it thoughtful, and I had an enjoyable experience reading this. I was laughing at some points. Obviously, I got to annotate it, which was really fun. I think if you enjoy light thrillers, morally great characters whom you just can't seem to like. If you enjoy slightly ambiguous endings that are left to your own discretion, then I think this is a book that you would enjoy. Just make sure you check out some trigger warning and do a little research in that if there are some things you're sensitive to. If you're still here and you have read this book, comment your thoughts below. Like, what did you think? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What was your star rating? I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't read this book, then comment a recent book that you've read, because I'd love to add it to my TBR and read it and review it. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you're still here, make sure you like this video, subscribe, turn on your notifications, because I'm here every Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you next Tuesday, and happy reading. Here's an outfit of the day, I guess. I was reading Yellowface, so that's my book, but I just have a thrifted old big t-shirt, my Sambas, and a long jean skirt, and honestly, I feel really cute today, so I just needed to share that with you because I'm 100% a fan.